This is like my fifth take just trying to start this video. So I'm already laughing. So I hope you guys are doing well. I wanted to do a quick video to talk to you about some of the tools I've used to edit my most recent series. So my color series, which consisted of 6 different images shot throughout Iceland. So, you know, I had been using one set of tools that was very much around a lot of color grading and my crazy color grading. So if you follow my work, you know that a lot of the work that I do, I kind of create my own world with these dramatic colors. I didn't want to do that for my Iceland series. I really wanted it to be as true to Iceland as it could be as far as the colors go. So I decided I really wasn't going to use those tools, my tried and true tools that I typically use. I was going to use some new ones. And so the absolutely incredible Nino Batista has an entire website and tool set that if you're not familiar with him or his work or his tools, that's what I'd like to introduce you to a little bit today. So Nino has shot just amazing, beautiful women, fashion, swimsuit, just these amazing shots really all over the place. I was lucky enough a few years ago to do a workshop with him, see how he approaches working with models and his lighting, and it was really awesome. And I'm so happy that I met him. He is incredible at not just being a photographer and a retoucher, but he's also a wonderful mentor. And he has worked for years perfecting his kind of toolkit, and now, not just now, but they've been available for a while, but now I'm telling you about them. So his website is NBP Retouch Tools. And, you know, Nino Batista Photography. So it's his retouch toolkit. And, I wanted to let you know a few of the tools that I've been using. I have so many that I have yet to really explore and get to know and learn how to use. But for my 6 images for the Iceland series and a couple of other ones that I've worked on since that I haven't quite put out yet, I have used some of his amazing tools. And anyone who follows my work knows how much I love texture. If there's not texture in my photo, I put texture into that photo. And I've either done that using different composites of putting layers that are really texture based and really pulling out some texture. So if I'm shooting against a very blank wall or using just a blank backdrop, I will add in texture. I love texture, but in Iceland, you know, I didn't need to add in any texture. I have black sand beaches or the red sands or you know, moss and everything that's got that wonderful texture there. So what I needed to do was just draw it out. So one of the tools that I used is in his Action 16 pack, and it's texture control. And that's what it's all about. And you can put various layers of texture in, you know, to whatever degree you want. And it is so simple. Like, guys, I can't even tell you how simple this one was to use. You know, I watch a video and then I am on my way and I can choose the level, the amount of texture I want, you know, from very little, which isn't really my style, to a little bit crazy. So I'd kind of tone it somewhere in the middle, but I did use the texture control, especially for shots with black sand beach on them, or really kind of anything. The metal in the DC plane wreck on the black sand beach, that image was perfect for the texture control action. And I loved that. Super simple to use, and just I think I used it on every image. Another, you know, pack is his color grading tools. He has these incredible color grading tools. So one of the pieces in there is called Zero Blues. And if you want to pull all of the blue out of your image, and you might think, kind of, when would be the times I would do that? Well, let me tell you. So when you're standing on a black sand beach, the black is rich and it's just got this amazing tone to it. The same when I was in outside of my color series, but still shot in Iceland, was at the volcano where you could see the dried lava, and to your naked eye as a human, it is very black, it is very rich and contrasty, and it's awesome. And my camera, whether it was just the camera sensor or the camera sensor and bringing it into Lightroom and Photoshop, it could have been a combination of how that color was processed, how that file was processed, makes the blacks look pretty blue. And you don't notice that until you run his action for 0 blues, and it pulls all those blues out of it, and you get that beautiful, rich black texture back. I could not believe how simple something like that was. And I'm sure for other photographers shooting other things, you know, other genres, other mediums, you're going to be able to use that in your own ways, in your own work, and you probably won't even realize what it is until you try it. And that's what I did. I just happened to try it because what I was seeing on the black sand beach in that very first color image, my red on the black sand beach, my image called Passion, that beach it almost looked dull to me. And I remember standing on it, because I was on it for quite a while, barefoot. And I just remember just how beautiful those tones were, and something in that image didn't come across. And as soon as I took away the majority of the blues out of that image, oh my goodness, my heart just sank. I was like, it worked. Like, that did it, you know. And I was just kind of trying everything to get my color tones the way that I really saw them. And that's really what I wanted to do with this series, is present it to you in the way that I saw, as close as you can. Obviously, our cameras are not our eyes. They're actually far better. So, you know, I really had to try to work to get these things back to where they, you know, were the way that I remember them being. And so 0 blues is just a very simple action that made such a difference in my work, in any of my images that maybe had a little too much blue in them. I've used it in a couple since, and I love it. Another one that I use, very, very simple, is just random contrast. You know, when I'm looking at my image, you know, sometimes I'm adding, not for these, but for drone shots, I'm adding my own lighting in, because when I shoot with the drone, obviously it's just top down. A lot of times it's midday, or I don't have the right directional light, or it just doesn't quite look, it looks a little flat to me. So I'm constantly adding in, you know, these big swoops of lighting coming from the side. But when I do that, when I'm lightening up those areas, when I'm lightening up my body, I do feel like I'm losing some of that contrast. So I was able to quickly add it back in with random contrast. And the way random contrast works is it literally lets you randomize it, and you can click the button and go, yeah, I don't quite like that. Maybe it's too strong. Click it again. Oh, that one's a little too light. Click it again. Hey, it's just right. It's my little Goldilocks there. So random contrast was so awesome to work with as well. With clicks of a button, I could literally sit there and just cycle through and go, yep, yeah, maybe, no. Until I got what I wanted. And again, that's just an action in Photoshop. And then, oh my gosh, full color grades, or color specific color grades, and they're randomized. So this was a really fun way to play with color in some of the drone shots that I was working on. Some things that you probably haven't seen yet because I haven't released them, but there are a ton of actions around color grading. And again, just like the random contrast, you can randomize it. So I could pick a specific color. So I could say, I want to do an orange color grade, and I could randomly cycle through until I found what I wanted. You can do the same with blues and greens and yellows and reds. Or you can do a full random color grade. You can do it in just the shadows, or you can do it as a whole. And it's kind of fun because when I'm not sure where I want to bring an image to, when I And, you know, when I shoot it, I don't know what color I'm going to edit it as. I go by feeling. And sometimes I'm just not sure where to start. So when I do these random colors, sometimes it sparks something in me and all of a sudden I have this idea and I can run with it and I can take it in a certain direction, or I can take it in one direction and decide I'm not loving it. Let me take it, you know, in another way. And so the color grading actions are so simple to use, clicks of a button. And, you know, again, they're actions, they add layers. If you don't like it, if you change your mind, you can get rid of them. You can add masks to them. You can mask out certain areas, which I do all of the time, to make sure that I'm not, you know, turning my skin green, things like that. So there's just so many uses for these things. And then building one upon the other too is an awesome way to do it. And then he has, in that same, which is the color grading tools action set, there's also LUTs in there. And so, you know, you can try out the LUTs he's already built. Like, here you go, try this out. Does this work for your image? And there's a whole bunch of those. And there's so much more in these action sets that it's just mind blowing. And it's so much fun to use. The last one that I used within my color series is his Action 15, which is Advanced Selections. And I'm sorry, I'm looking off because I want to make sure I say the names of these right. But Advanced Selections, which is insane. You have to watch a little tutorial literally to be able to figure out how to use this. But once you do, what you can do with his advanced selections, once you learn how to do these selections, you can select, you know, very specific pieces of clothing, parts of your hair, skin tone and only skin tone, and separate it from everything else in the photo, even if those things have a similar color range. And there's so many ways to do selections in Photoshop. But if you've used several, and you've probably had to use several because sometimes they just don't work right. Maybe this one will work. No, maybe this one will work. Does this one work? Yeah, it works a little better. And then you either end up doing it like me, just by hand, with masking, or if you are a magician, you can use the pen tool. I am not. Things like that. So his advanced selections let you actually get to what you're trying to get to. And I can't even explain to you how they have this working. I watched a tutorial twice. It's so mind-bending, but works incredibly awesome. Those are just some of the tools he has, guys. And I cannot say enough how amazing it is for my work personally. And I do not shoot swimsuits. I do not shoot fashion. I do not shoot boudoir. I'm doing fine art, and these tools work for me. So no matter what you are doing, these types of tools will work for you. And he has so many of them. So here's the cool thing. So I just randomly thought, like, oh my gosh, I got to do this. I have to do a video about these tools I've been using. Now's the time. So I went to his website, and just pulled it up, and he's having a sale right now. I had no idea. I just happened to come across it. So I'm putting this video out to not only tell you that I love his tools, I use them in my work. I wanted you all to know because a lot of them have made my life so much easier. And he's having a sale right now. If you're still not sure, he actually has some freebies. There's some actions you can go right to his website and you can download and you can play with and just see, you know, and maybe it's for you, maybe it's not. I do not do a lot of endorsement videos. He's not, you know, paying me to do any endorsement video, but I know a lot of people ask me what tools I use, what I edit with, how I edit, where I shoot, you know, and the majority of my shoots are within my own yard, in my neighborhood. That's where I shoot most of the time. Obviously, I went to Iceland for 9 days and I shot a ton over there, and that was a big deal for me to shoot somewhere else. But it doesn't matter where I'm shooting or what I'm shooting if there are tools that I believe in. So I will always use them. And so NBP Retouch Tools are part of my toolkit now, and I absolutely love them. There are definitely other tools that I use. I'm happy to talk about. If you guys ever want to hear about them, just totally ask me. I'm an open book with my retouching, my editing. There's no secrets most of the time. I just make it up as I go along. But you know, Nino has worked so hard on these tools and wants to make sure that people know they're not just for skin tones, they're not just for beauty or for swimsuits or fashion, that any photographer in any genre can find uses for them. And as a kind of fine art photographer and doing drone work, you know, I do things that are pretty different. I do a lot of compositing too. You know, I'm able to use these tools and to appreciate them. And I wanted to let you guys all know, because, you know, it's been this awesome color series that I put out all my 6 images. So now I wanted to talk a little bit about what I did to edit them. And that was the toolkit that I used primarily, you know, through that. They're all actions, they're all in Photoshop. He has amazing videos so that you don't have to figure out how to use something, because they're pretty advanced. You know, so he's got awesome videos on his YouTube channel that you can go to right from his website, and he walks you through literally how to use them step by step. And so he's an awesome mentor, an awesome creator, and I can't thank him enough for the tools he's been able to provide to all of us to be able to make even better work. So hope you enjoyed this. It was a little bit long, but I was so excited to tell you guys all about it. And I definitely have more tools in my toolkit that I need to learn how to use myself and implement into my work. And I know it'll be awesome. So take care.